My name is Rachel Riffe-Albright, as I've been introduced. And I did change my title, because I wanted to frame it around, the student. And before I jump into this, I really want to stress why, um, I thought that, a return to basics presentation, could be valuable. Specifically because, as we've kind of gotten a sense in this in LIRT so far, um, I get the impression a lot of people feel like the our information ecosystem is changing very quickly, and it is. But what I have found a lot of um, peace and security in is, our core mission hasn't changed. Um, and it from the dawn of librarianship to now, um, we exist to educate and empower. And so I want for my career, I'm also early career. I want to develop lesson plans and assignments that reflect that. So this is just one that I is going to eventually be a Canvas module, and I do want to open this with a question. So, and you can sound off in the chat if you'd like, but why do scholars even write research papers? And great, I don't have, oh, no. I don't have Zoom anymore. I hope y'all can still hear me. Okay, there we go.
We can
Share
hear you.
knowledge, join the conversation in their field. Perfect. Yes. So we have a lot of discussion about sharing knowledge, and we discuss a conversation, which at me as a communication major and undergrad, that's what really drew me to this field. And as a result, it really informs my pedagogy. Um, Now, the bigger question for you guys today is, when I said scholar, um, who came to mind first? If y'all want to sound off, you're already working in the field. Yeah, so traditionally we have a view of scholars as those who are have a strong understanding of the field and can be considered experts. And that by definition is what a scholar is. But I want everyone to consider why we have that perception. So together, we just negotiated our perceptions of what a scholar is. So through communicating, either within ourselves or externally, like we just did, we're developing a teeny tiny piece of our academic world. This is according to one of my favorite theories of all time, coordinated management of meaning theory, which really gives us a helpful mental framework to envision how um, how our worlds build our communities. I.e., the hidden agenda doesn't just happen. It's something we choose to build every day. So, if this offers a model for how our rule book of our shared world is written, based on who is in the conversation, I posit that including our undergrads more they can help play an active role in rewriting it. And they don't know the rules, especially if they're first gen or they're from a um, disenfranchised background. And I think that gives them an absolutely wonderful perspective. And we're really missing out if we don't offer them the space for autonomy and reflection when they are in the classroom and working on assignments. So, um, and something that I try to keep in mind every day is that only the student can give their work meaning. And that's the same as it is for us. I find meaning in my work because I'm allowed to choose my work and I'm allowed to um, develop it however I want. And because the only reason I can do that is because of the education I was given and the support of my academic environment. And we owe our students the same thing. So this is a lesson plan for creating a research question. And this is going to be a LMS module, like I mentioned at the beginning. But I'm also hoping to roll it out this fall for EKU's English 102s. You probably have a similar type of assignment or class in your own universities, but at EKU specifically, it's supposed to be broad. The students themselves, they decide on a class theme. They don't have to necessarily write a paper. A lot of them do. Their deliverable is multimodal. I've seen poster presentations. I've seen books. I've seen somebody brought her whole Squishmallow collection and had like a little display called Squish That Negative Thought, and I loved that. She was one of my nursing babies, so that made me even happier. And but I will say this is actually really hard on the students, and I don't think necessarily the professors expected that giving them full creative freedom would result in this choice paralysis that we see. And also when it's so broad like that, it seems to be a little more difficult for students to see how the assignment can immediately benefit them. And like I said in the previous slide, these can only um, this can only work if the student finds value in it. So, um, my advice to the students and what I hope to get across in this worksheet basically is I want them to step back from the assignment. I want them to prioritize their own internal world and bringing that out throughout their project. So on the LMS, I'm going to give them 4 cards with some brainstorming questions basically. And I've gone through this with my own stuff just as an example. So I chose the lower left-hand corner. Um, and that was basically something I wish I could change in the world. And I said simply, I wish breast cancer didn't exist. Because that's something that everybody wishes. And then I asked the students to reflect. And this is something that they would do independently, and then we would come back together. And I just want to ask them, what is your reason? This is something they'll do independently in the learning module. But I want them to really plug it into their lived experience. So my reason, of course, was my grandma passed away after having breast cancer 3 times. We were super rural and she didn't have access to great medical care, which is something that has heavily influenced my career path. After they've reflected, this is when I want them to really start bringing in the assignment. A common thing that we've got in English 102 themes is developing a project, exploring the impact of social media. And a lot of times, if you ask your students what their research question is, they just say social media. And so we have to work them through that. So the goal here is that they will map their interest to social media, just kind of as a free idea for how that could relate. So I came up with 2, and in the module I asked them to come up with 2. But I said maybe people with breast cancer share info about their experience online. I know from seeing friends and family go through this that treatment is lonely, and maybe there's ways to find support online easier than offline. And I remind them that you could choose one of these topics, or depending on how you phrase your research question, you can explore both of them. So I'm guessing is going to be the toughest leap for them, and that is flipping just kind of free form ideas into a researchable research question. And I think this is where it'll be really interesting to do this exercise in person versus on the learning module. Um, but I decided to combine mine. And this is the same example I'm going to go through with the students. But I turned it into how are people with breast cancer using social media to find support? And it's a it's it shows that it doesn't have to be a complicated research question. It just really needs to be something that you can invest in and care about and want to dig into. I have a note here that you should consider defining the terms research question and thesis. Um, there's a lot of issues with conflation with these two terms. So that's another thing that we're having to work past. Um, so yeah, and but do we really have to bring theory into something so basic? Because this is really an intuitive process for a lot of us. Um, and I think so, partially because I love theory, but also um, by prioritizing um, reflection and personal interest, we are kind of playing into coordinated management of meaning theory by letting the students bring more of their authentic selves to their work, and they can see themselves in our academic community and feel like they're actually contributing based on the discussions that they're having in classes. We want our students to be passionate about what they're doing. Sometimes they just don't know how yet, and this can open up the opportunity for faculty and both on the library side and the disciplinary side to have more in-depth conversations with the students that they might take a little more seriously. Um, and so I really hope that educators can recognize the value of this because we can internalize the perspectives of our students. Um, and we can bring that to our committee meetings. We can take that to faculty senate. If we choose to empathize with them through what they find is important, um, we can make actionable progress. But more importantly, we have a generation of students that have the confidence not to adhere to the same rules that were ingrained in us when we were going through school. And I think that will make all the difference in creating more inclusive academic ecosystem. So yeah, if you like this, let's chat. If you hate this, definitely let's chat because I would love to hear how I can improve it. My email is here and my LinkedIn is here, and those are two of my nursing babies. I was inspired actually by Amanda Peach. Both of these students are nursing students, but they're also library employees. So yeah, I wanted to throw them in there. All right, thank you.